Hey, what's up? This is Matt Dietz, and this is Agency Launch. This is the show where I talk about running an insurance agency. I talk about sales and marketing strategies for insurance agents. I talk about staffing for insurance agents. I talk about retention and customer service for insurance agents. One of the most popular questions that I get right now is, hey, Matt, I know I'm supposed to quote a certain amount of people every day. How do I find people to quote? Well, if you text me right now to 208-213-8809, I have an asset pulled directly from my masterclass that I'm giving out for free. Text me 20 policies to 208-213-8809, and I will show you how to write 20 policies this week. On with the show. Hey, what's up? All right. So today I wanted to talk about a little bit about, about the state of the industry. If you're selling insurance right now, some of us are running across some challenges that are not totally unique, but feel kind of new. We go through these rate cycles where your premiums seem completely out of whack with your competition. So what do you do? First of all, I will tell you, it's not always going to be like this. All right. I've seen some rate cycle. I came in a tough rate cycle back in 2005. The product I was selling was not very competitive, but I sold enough to make a living. I had to quote more, and that was the simple answer. It was just blunt force. It was like, just quote more, quote more, quote more. That's an easy thing to say. It's easy advice to give, but that was the truth. But my closing ratio was in the high teens. It was 18 to 20%, and you can survive on that. It's more work. My closing ratio over the past 5 or 6 years, is upwards between 40 and 50%, because of the way that I built my business. I get more warm referrals, and people will buy if you're getting the right business to come to you. Your closing ratio increases a lot, and people come to you with trust built in. I've talked about that before, but when you're starting or in your first few years and you're quoting people and you're asking for people's business, and you're maybe you're buying leads, or maybe you don't have the relationships built yet, price can be a little bit more of a prominent hurdle to overcome, right? So what if you're not competitive at all? Like, I've talked to agents who are like, Matt, I've quoted 50 policies and I didn't get one of them. I've quoted 70 households and I wrote one. If you're and then there's some states out there that are like, well, we're not writing any home insurance anymore. We're not writing auto insurance anymore. Like, there's some disruptive things that are happening. Okay. I remember back in 2008 and 2009, people buying homes slowed down. That came to a grinding halt. So, like, there are things that happen, in a career and within an industry that can cause disruption. So this will not be the first time this happens, and it won't be the last. All right. So the question is, like, what do you do during these times? Okay. I usually map out a 90-day period. I'm like, all right, let's not overreact. Let's make sure this isn't a bad week. Let's make sure that this isn't a bad month. Maybe we got a bunch of bad leads. Okay, maybe this sample size of people that we quoted were just out of whack, and we didn't win. We didn't win a lot of them. Maybe the next 10 will write. This is the law of averages, right? If you do see a pattern, though, or you see writing on the wall, or you're getting memos from your company that's like, you can't sell that product anymore, you have to do something a little bit different. Okay. If I was in a situation where I was closing 1 out of 50, my closing ratio was 2%, or even less than 10. If my closing ratio was less than probably 15%, I would start adjusting my business model temporarily. Okay. And I would start looking at different things to write. Specifically, depending on what company you're with, you have a lot of different products that you can sell. The foundation of most of our businesses is home and auto. Okay. So Most agencies, their mix is between 70 and 80% home and auto. Some are higher than that. But if you can't write it, what are you going to do? Well, you have other things to sell. There's commercial lines insurance, and inside of commercial lines, there's commercial auto, there's workers' compensation. Okay, there's more products out there that you can offer. And then, of course, there's life insurance. Life insurance can be very profitable. Okay, so, and then some agents have their 6 and 63 and can write financial services, and you can do Roth IRAs and retirement planning, and you can roll over 401ks into IRAs, and you can write 529s. And so if you can reframe what you're writing and be like, you know what, we're going to slow down on the home and auto because that is becoming a waste of time. And you can also do health insurance. You can do Medicare. There are other things that you can write. All right. And that may be different than what you signed up for. Okay. Well, so what? All right. That's maybe if that's not working, find something else. And that might be, there's some mindset work that you probably have to do. You're like, all right, gosh, I'm going to go and sell commercial and life. Like the first quarter for my agency wasn't great. Okay. We lost a product that we wrote a lot of recently, and the rates that I have right now with my existing product isn't great. I haven't pulled the plug on anything yet, and I never will, but I'm different now than I was years ago. Okay. If I needed to exist off of my new business premiums, I would find a way to write premium and get it on the books. Okay. So I would pivot to commercial and to life. And what does that mean if you're going to do that? Let's talk a little bit about that. You've got to learn these products. You have to learn how to sell them. You got to learn how to have those conversations. And that's something that you have to learn. Okay. So instead of maybe prospecting for home and auto, you spend the month of whatever, you spend the next 30 days doing your best to become an expert on whatever you're going to sell. Okay. You want to talk to people like me. Okay. Say, Matt, well, I need to start selling workers' comp. So what do I need to do? Workers' comp can be a very easy product to sell. It's a very easy product to quote. Okay. So you have to learn product, and then you got to learn how to market it. You got to learn how to get in front of people to sell to. So your target changes. All right. You're changing from people who own home and autos to people who own businesses. So you got to find yourself in rooms full of business owners, and you got to ask for their business. Okay. You want to talk to other agents who have been proficient at selling these products and see if you can get a half hour with them. How do you get in front of these business owners? Okay. What do you say? How do you ask? What's the language you use when you're talking to these people? How do you be persuasive when it comes to asking for a quote? What kind of things do I need to know? How do I get the best premiums? I worked with my commercial underwriters a lot, learning product. What's this coverage? What does this do? What does that do? Blah, blah, blah. And the only way you're really going to learn this stuff is if you start quoting it. All right. So you want to work your natural market first and be like, hey, talk to everyone you know. Say, do you know anyone that owns a business? All right. And can you connect me with them and see if I can maybe quote their insurance? So you want to get on a 3-way text with someone to be like, hey, this is, you want to get a referral. You want to get connected with a business owner. You want to go meet them at their place and start having a conversation. You want to learn your product, and you want to start quoting, and that should be like your North Star. That's all you should be doing for the next 30 days if you want to learn a new product. Same with life insurance. Life insurance is not rocket science. Okay. There's a handful of things you need to learn to be proficient at it. You got to learn how to determine a proper face amount for someone, and that's easy to do. You want to learn the product and the difference between term and permanent insurance. You want to learn how to position that with clients, and you want to sell that. So those are the things that if you're working with someone like me, that we can teach you to do. Okay. So if I was in a position where I was closing less than, 10 or 15% of my business and I needed to pivot, that's what I would do. I'm like, all I'm going to do is learn these products because this is what I'm going to sell. And it's temporary, okay? This is something that maybe you're going to do for the next 6 months, 12 months until this rate cycle until your home and auto becomes, more competitive. Sell what's on sale. Sell what you're competitive in. Okay. So you have to determine where your company is competitive, and there are people that can help you with that. And then you want to target those places. Okay. Life insurance is pretty, your company's also priced properly with certain populations when it comes to life insurance. I know my company does really well with younger, healthy people, just like every other insurance company, but that's where we're going to be the most competitive. So that's what I would encourage you to do, is switch gears, go into learning mode, teach yourself this stuff. You have to learn this stuff. All right. So educate yourself, learn the product, learn how to get in front of the right people and sell that. If your goal was to write $30,000 worth of premium in a month, it doesn't matter where that premium comes from. You could write one $12,000 commercial policy, all right, and you're like 30. You're like 30% there, okay? So it doesn't matter where the $30,000. Do you want to write 30 home and auto, or do you want to write 5 commercial policies? Okay, so you have to reframe. You kind of have to reset a little bit and be like, how am I going to get my $30,000 worth of premium, and figure it out. All right, so those are my thoughts for you today. My name is Matt. This is Agency Launch. You can find me all over the place. Check out my training platform if you want to work with me. I'm at agencylaunch.net. You can also sign up for my texting community at 208-213-8809. And I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at Dietz Agency. So thank you so much for listening. Keep up the good work.